All right, we back up, fully equipped. We gotta restore some stuff because we popped out and we're back in. I want you to look at the title that's on the screen right now. It's on the lower third, right next to the Sun Sees Live, where you first came through. You're gonna see the pop up, right? But under that, it shows you what we do. We're talking about hidden esoteric studies and revolution. What places did that take in our arrival of getting to compete with the rest of the society? When I first came up, right, we didn't have talks about third eye, chakras, um, what's another one? The Kundalini. We didn't have those terms, in our message, right? And I got the link up for the StreamYard. I'm gonna have to do that over again. Good. Salute to that. I'm not doing any special effects. This is pretty much a serious topic. I done jumped off and everything. Hold on, here we go. Okay, here we go. All right. Same rules apply. Same rules apply. And we're going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to show you a little slideshow. We're going to go through each slide, right? Everything from meditative practices, things to balance the center, a lot of that stuff, it's very beneficial. Let me not disqualify it, right? Let me not disqualify it. But let's offer to you what these new terms were and how they were delivered to us, right? As you see right in front of you, and I want you to also take careful consideration of what the color codes are. The color codes are very important, right? Because if you follow along, there are a couple that are left out too. I'll be able to put that in in a couple of slides in as well, right? Just gotta bear with me. The color coding is very important because, of course, seeing color, alerts you quickly to what an event is, what is taking place. And this has been the mix of metaphysics and esoteric studies along with science and technology, right? Because, if you ever been in a meeting and had a flow chart, certain colors of the flow chart would cause you to respond or look at it more quickly to see, how things develop. Right here you see 6 approaches to human behavior, right? The humanistic approach, approach views, aggressions as the result of unfulfilled needs to grow in a healthy manner, right? And that's a good list. So it's a good reference point to start your communication in what human behavior is. And you go from the bottom up. In they would say the pyramid, but it's a triangle. Let's get that right. Now, not to hold you, the first time I've heard the term third eye, right? Third eye maybe been when I was, I'm going to say 17, 18 years old, right? The first thing I heard was ki or chi. Chi, Fu Si, or the yin and yang symbol. And we watch a lot of kung fu movies. And in those kung fu movies, they did divulge some information, that was very important, centering herself, uh, learning to be a good student, and going through the trials and tribulations in order to gain mastership, how to learn from a master. And we've adopted those things in our culture realities as well, right? I just want to get to that picture real quick if I can, because I got it on screen. We're gonna go through that, but check the color system as we move forward to my next slide. What's going on? Okay, there we go. As we move forward to the next slide. Boom. In different manifestations, because you are life, and life cannot die. You are in the trees, the butterflies, the fish, the air, the moon, the sun. Wherever you go, you are there, waiting for yourself. Now, very lofty information, right? And packaged well. See, a lot of good things about memes is that you can actually gain a great deal of wisdom in such a short amount of time, right? You can also actually entertain yourself in a short amount of time as well. Memes are like the hieroglyphs, the metal nature, the hieroglyphics of ancient Egypt. The drawings, the cave paintings of South Africa. It's quick references. The etchings in stone of Mesopotamia. We're not going to leave anything out because the imagination and what the mind can do is very important in the progress of civilization. Definitely. But we're not speaking about 25,000, 35,000 years ago. What can we do right now that will benefit going forward? And most importantly, a phrase like this will give you the empowerment to know and understand that everything around you you're a part of. So you can, raise your vibration, raise your intuitiveness, and be able to utilize the things in your area by using your imagination, creativity, all together making ingenuity. But what is stopping that full potential? You know, some people label it to outside forces, a net of signals around the planet. And feel free to get into the. Let me see if I can get into the live real quick. Feel free to get into the chat. But that's one thing. I'm cooking slow now. I'm cooking slow. But I want you to pay attention to that. It's very important. We cooking slow, but we cooking. It's the crock pot style. And there's been a lot of hustlers that come into the name, which is tiring. Which is very troublesome because they'll get themselves into a study that is unquantifiable and seek themselves to be the masters of the information there. But perception is everything. The way I look at a basketball from my angle is different from, you can stand right next to me and it'll be a different angle that you're looking at the basketball. Same thing when we step out and look at the world as it is. Your set of conditions and values may be different. I want to keep the movement moving. I can't find my chat. Ain't that something? I can't find my chat. But it gets better. It gets better. Hold up. I sent the links. Oh man, this is craziness. Okay, there you go. I see you now. Salute, salute. This Omega Sun's Light. We ready. It's on the old one. Mm-mm. StreamYard is in effect. So, we got the thing of law of attraction, manifesting forces. A good book to pick up if you can, Power versus Force, David Hawkins, right? Not to be related to Stephen Hawkins, right? And that's interesting, the Hawkins, right? What David Hawkins sought to do was map out the conscious world, like map out consciousness. Everything from the lowest level of shame and guilt and fear to the higher levels of love, contentment, enlightenment. And each one would give off a frequency. But in these steps, he sought to chart out the charge of energy that it takes. Let me see, power versus force. Yeah. Versus force. And I need to know if you can hear this stuff, because I don't want to go on too far and things are not working out well. That's another thing. Connecting the screen. Okay, I did that. We're live. What's going on? They're playing in my face, as they say out in these streets. Playing in my face. Let's go. Can I see it? All right, I'm about to start over and come back in. I hope not. I really don't. And I'm what? 12 minutes in. Let me do this. Let me do this right now. Ugh. It's my stream key. And I'm flowing from the survival scrolls. I'm flowing from the survival scrolls. Okay, server. Yeah, we on, man. I don't know what the hell's going on now. We on. We are on. So, next one. Color psychology, which is very interesting. Let me see if I can build this up real quick. Color psychology. With color psychology comes a vast amount of information. Let's see if I can spark this up real quick. Bam. Come on, get up there. All right. Pardon self, because there's a lot of this stuff I just put on my scroll, right? But red is active. Okay. Red is active. Let's chop this up real quick. Boom. Yeah, we're gonna make this work today. We're gonna get this work. Red is active. Blue is like calming, is what they say. Red action, ambition, intention, confidence, love, lively, passion. That's the activity of red. Okay. Orange. Orange is activity. So when you got the red and the orange, you got some real real movement going on. Confidence, creativity, excitement, harvest. The fall, autumn, harvest. Like everything plays into itself, plays into each other. Optimism, green, balance, fresh, kindness, maturity, luck, nature, Purple, ambition, creativity, spiritual, success and wealth. Blue, calming, like I said before, clear, integrity, peaceful, energy. That's the yellow, energy. So that red, that orange, that yellow is that energy. That's the sunspot right there. That's the sunspot right there. And then to the water, calming the blue waters, calming of the. These are esoteric studies that we've compiled together in order to basically simplify and create a greater meaning of life. When they say metaphysics is beyond the physics, but how does that pertain to our liberation of oppressed people? As we see different groups come up, they look to what they can prove, what they can develop in society. Let me see if I can do a couple more. Silver. All right. I'm not going there. Okay. Hold on. Let me pull this down. It's rough right now. It's rough. I don't know what's going on with this. It's rough. There you go. Black. Classy, dramatic, elegant, luxury, mystery, power. Let me say black again, because people don't understand when you use the color code system. There's a color psychology. People were duped into these drab and dreary states of being by almost like a spell put on what the actual color was, and of course these are transferred from different languages, so we're going to put on the spins that we want to. We can make anything a pejorative and give empowerment to anything as well, all depending on our intent. Black, classy, dramatic, elegant, luxury, mystery, power. Black robes on the court. The darkness of night. You wear all black and you might throw some jewelry on to accentuate, your outfit. It's a symbol of elegance as well. A color of elegance, let me say that. Pink, affection, compassion, feminine, healthy, romance, softness. That's what the pink gives you, like that sensation. That's what it does on the sensation. Silver, classy, again, cool, glamorous, graceful, high tech. A lot of things in tech appearing silver. Say, why am I doing this? Why am I showing this? For obvious reasons. People forget about what this does to the mindset when they see it. Last two, white, clean, easy, fresh, magical, modern, sleek, stylish. You go to white parties, right? You're saying still, what does this have to do with liberation? Because with the psychology of color and how you conceptualize things and bring forth, certain information, you're going to want to go to the color scale. It'll drive people's, emotions, intuitiveness, give signals. And the color coding is actually when you become start to do electrician. When you become an electrician, this stuff is embedded through the wiring system. So it's very important. Do I got any? Okay. All right. There's a lot going on at one time. There's a lot going on at one time. But it's okay. We're going to make it work. And brown, approachable, comfortable, friendly, organic, as from the earth. Okay? So we made that work like that. We shrink this down again. Because one thing's for sure, okay, boom. One thing's for sure when it comes to um, us getting ourselves together. You know, our belief systems are made and broken behind how we deal with these things. You know, the color psychology. Let me see if I can raise that up again. Yeah, I'm going through it a little bit. A little bit. Alright, just give me a second. Come on now, there we go. And work. Let's work. Voila. So it's important. It's definitely important. Now, revolution. Can we get involved with revolution? Can we talk about that a little bit? I don't know. Come on now, what's going on? There we go. And I'm mad at this thing for not giving me my love. Show me my love. Boom. All right. Next one. We basically deal with what they call pareola patterns, um, wavelengths that look like they match. You know, numbers, concurrent numbers. That's why you have something called angel numbers. This is something to take in consideration because patterns matter. They're a real thing. Um, when we see certain patterns that hold a success model, we can follow those patterns and develop um, refinements to that success model in order to make it like a streamlined event towards getting a goal accomplished. I've read a couple of books about the breaking up of habits, which is very important. I can't even get to that. My runners watch all the time. So when we start to find out patterns, we also see patterns that don't do us well, destructive patterns. And we can also glean from that a great deal of information on where we need to go and how we need to move. You know, people are going to get mad at me, but I may have to just do what I'm doing right now and then upload all this stuff onto my respective sites. But I definitely want to get this information out as much as possible. Then we can have a giant build on it, and I got the setup for it. So right here, you'll see the pattern for the young brother's hairstyle, the hair, the spiral. When you're born as a baby, you have that spiral cap starting from the back of their hair and it goes out. Yeah, that's a natural event. And then they showed it next to the spiral of a particular galaxy system. You know, the spirals in the seashells. The, they call it the golden ratio. You also have a Fibonacci sequence. These are mathematics that are used in everything that we do as far as engineering goes. Oh, well, a great deal of it. That's why the question is, did esoteric study slow down or thwart revolution, practical strategies for revolution? Did we forget that we had to use that information in order to pull the best thing out of it in order to use it to advance in our studies? Or we just stay right there, because there's people that talk about calcified pineal glands and um, the chakras not being aligned. And these are new concepts from the new age stages of information. And it's like I said, it's not to knock it, but there also are a great deal of people that are not true workers of that information and basically talk just to get it out. Let's see. I'm gonna go to two more, and then we're gonna go back to the other screen, right? Because I want you to see the Kundalini cash games. Remember, when you speak, the intention is very important. The intention is the vibration, you know. So you have to be able to refine your intention in order to motivate yourself to get to speak what you want into existence, and that becomes the frequency. You know, so that's very important. Once it becomes the frequency, you can develop a great deal of wisdom and even greater information from where you started. Boom, you just throw that up there like that. The comments are in order for StreamYard. Um, that link is in the chat. I think you see that on the top right under Sun Seeds. Sunspot. And we're going to move on. Again, the 360 wave thing. I'm not a thing where I'm not partial. I started off just fades, high top fades. Then there came the low curly top fade. Then the afro, always the dark Caesar. Then for a long period of time, well, a great period of time, I had locks, um, braids, then locks, then back to braids. And I was going to do locks again, but I said no, let me do something different, and I cut it low and kept it low ever since. And I always liked waves. You know, it just looks great when it's natural, of course. You know, and there's a lot to go with it. But that ripple effect is like it always was a thing for me. It's the magnetic force, and I guess because when we growing up in the 80s and yeah, the mid 80s to the late 80s, that was the thing. You know, you ironing your Puma strings, you brushing your sneakers off, you got your, you know, your BBDs on, you know, you doing your push-ups, doing some curls and stuff like that, and then you're brushing your waves. That was the thing. Go outside, fresh, you know what I'm saying, fresh sneakers or um, fresh Playboys or something like that. You got the tailors on, you ready to rock. But look at the picture that comes with it that I put on side of it, parallel. This was being done in ancient times. And I just wanted to show you that parallel to let you know that there are going to be things that we bring from the past into our present and possibly into our future. And that's a metaphysic a metaphysic reference right there. Right there. That picture alone. And somebody somebody thought wise enough to carve that into the stone. Not just draw it, but carve it into the stone. So that could be a reference point to let people know this is something that we've done before. We're going to have to do that now, but if we're away from the things that are going to advance us, how does that mesh out? What are we leaving? There's a digital divide going on right now where we need coders that can help those that do not have those resources advance up into society and civilization, so they can be able to communicate, and also it's not just competing but also complementing from their expression so they can exist further and have cultural continuity as well. This is important. I got people. I know I got people screaming at me right now, like, "Yo, where is the live? Where's the live?" I know. Bear with me. And I'm not doing any sound effects, no music, any of that. I'm just gonna put this up. I hope you're able to hear it, check it out, and we're gonna move from there. Oh, I got somebody on deck.
What's up, bro?
Salute, salute, good man. How you doing, sir?
Salute. I mean, man, I done told you about sending me this thing in the email.
Yeah.
And if I don't check the mail, come on, man.
No, check it
Yeah.
out. I put this out a day ago. I got the promotion out and everything like that. And
Okay.
at the last minute, my stream key is messing up, but I'm still on
Okay.
and I'm recording at the same time. And we're going to
Okay.
build on this topic. It's about did esoteric studies in
I seen
metaphysics.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the record, what you think? What you think about that?
I mean, I'm not all into the esoteric thing, and metaphysics. I'm not really too well versed in it. Like what are the key points? How do you apply it, and what are the benefits, pros, cons?
Mm-hmm.
Like some people might look at Nature Boy as being esoteric. You know, um, I
Mesoteric.
really, yeah, right, mesenteric, exactly, mesenteric.
I wanted to get to that because that's going to be the big panel discussion about the Kundalini hustlers out there.
Right,
Let
right.
me ask you, when was the first time you heard the term third eye?
That would have been. Now I've heard it, but I didn't understand it.
Mm.
I mean, I've heard it, since I was a young man in my 20s. I can't pinpoint, you know, when I first heard it, but I've heard it, for well over 35, 40 years. But I didn't come to understand it
Right.
until I talked to brother, or listened, I'm sorry, listened to Brother Ray Higgins.
Oh yeah,
And
salute them.
that, yeah, I will always give him the credit for my awakening into the truth. And then he opened me up to, and unfortunately, Dr. Umar, I was one of them,
Mm-hmm.
supporting what he was trying to do. But then I got frustrated about my money. you know, yeah, I sent him a nice little piece of change, and I'm like, well, what's up, player?
Same
You
here,
know,
same here.
yeah, yeah.
But that's the
So,
part of the Kundalini hustle. At the same time, we
mhm,
had those that verbiage, like you said, 30, 35 years ago. We're talking about maybe the late '80s, going into the
right,
'90s,
right,
and
right,
um, as a people, we are susceptible to listen to other cultures as they express themselves and take upon, the best parts of what they have.
right,
But then when we incorporate it into our own structure, we turn it into something different.
right.
You
I
know,
can go with that. Yeah,
yeah. So like third eye went from this is a an Indian concept from the term ajna. It's that eye chakra, right above the throat chakra, going into the sahasrara. This is their thing of balancing the chakras and opening up the the kundalini and things of that nature.
right,
So getting half the truth, and then saying I am a master at it is
wow.
very detrimental to us.
I could go with that. Anything. Yeah,
Yeah, because a lot of
yeah,
people didn't know about those extra steps, and then you know it's more tracking to go on what happened in India into the older civilization that had it. You know, so
right,
you're getting an alien concept, even though it may be beneficial for you internally. How does it translate to your performance in the globe?
right.
And
Right.
that's the
So now,
contention.
as a collective, because if we're talking about is it detrimental, I think that's going to be the ultimate question. In the confusion, is that what you're going with
Absolutely.
it? My lack of
Absolutely.
understanding.
Yes. Mind
Okay.
you, Asia, they adopted a more, I would say, a more situated structure for their, their advancement in their society. They no longer deal with a lot of the old traditions,
Right.
and this has been a make it or break it point for them because a lot of the new people on the scene don't cherish the older generation like they used to.
Oh wow, yeah, that's for sure.
Right. The modernization, came into effect, so those old traditional values have left a lot of wealth of information and again, my term all the time, cultural continuity.
Right
So
on.
so now they adapt other groups means of success.
Right, and that doesn't have you focus on yourself because
Yes.
you're not understanding how to apply what you've already absorbed when you need to be focused on self. Am I kind of in there a little bit?
You're awesome there. You're awesome. On point.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
taking the shots from the three on the corner.
Right. Right.
Yes, yes.
Right. So
And,
I think yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, and also India because that's
Mhm.
been another shaker and mover in the technological area in the technical fields
Yeah.
and
They coming up.
for real,
Yeah.
with little to work with, and they have a
Right.
system that's just as racist and just as
Oh yeah.
oppressive. You know, so how do you throw away a quarter or a half of your population? Because that's what's
So
happening.
the
Yeah,
you're talking about in India now in particular.
yeah.
Well, I mean, the problem is is generally is the hatred and the separation. You know, you got to find a. I, I mean, the concept of development, upper echelon community. If you look in Brazil, all right, Brazilians are darker colored people, but but the upper echelon of the community are, more pale. You
Right.
know, the status of beauty is more pale, which subliminally suppresses the masses because they are not. You dig?
Yes.
So racism, even in India, I can see it because there are some chocolate people out there. They got
Mm.
a lot of brothers and sisters. I seen a brother downtown, man. He was damn near blue black. And I mean that.
Yeah, you always see his eyes
Blue,
and teeth, right?
you can always see his eyes and teeth, man. And it's no, but he sounded like a European, and he had this beautiful hair, man. You could not tell me that this dude did not have a relaxer in his hair, but it was natural, right? It was
Yeah.
beautiful,
Right.
and it was beautiful. And you know what I thought when I saw him? I thought natural man when I saw him. Natural man, like
Mm.
100%. I could see every other man on the planet being grafted from him, you know?
That's
But
interesting. That's interesting.
yeah,
Wow, because that package right there shows culture shock, um, our perceptions of what the original man may be, because that kind of peels a line that was said that the eyebrows had the original hair, like the original, and there was a lot of
right.
static around that, right?
I remember that. I remember that
Right.
conversation.
you know,
Yeah, that was a deep conversation. I remember that.
yes,
Yeah,
and it's so much to unpack with that because it alienates other people that
right,
look a certain way, and
right,
they don't get the resources because they don't appeal to a certain look.
right,
And that's the problem in its inception. Like, just because I look a certain way doesn't mean I can't build or create something that
right.
can benefit and contribute to to the whole affair. Now, Indian people, seeing where they were dealing with the third eye on deck, on site, dealing with Kundalini, they tossed that to the side and got with the technology.
And that's where the division comes in. That's all a part of the process. You got to divide and conquer.
Right.
And somebody's got to be the worker, and somebody's got to be the boss.
So,
everybody can't be a queen bee.
right. So where does
Somebody's
the
gotta be
next
the government.
right? So where does the next Dalai Lama come from? Right? Where,
Wow, man, that's deep.
yeah. Where does the next avatar? What they call
Right,
what's the name? They got the Dharma. The Dharma. There's the
right.
karma and there's the Dharma that leads the legacy of the karma, right? If nobody's dealing with that spiritual system anymore.
Well, they fade away, and that's the chaos. If you don't have anything to be grounded in that unites you, and the black church was it in the 60s.
That's
That was
right.
the institution that organized, everybody came together, as a collective. But, if you throw out, and I'm being so honest, and me and you talked the other day, I'm gonna just keep it 100. Even if you don't support religion, it is something that is definitely needed, because the cohesiveness that was there during the 60s and 70s is no more.
Right.
We don't have that one uniting factor like our freedom, or access. We've been fractured, and that is by design, I think, all around the world, except in the Asian countries like Vietnam, China, Japan, because they all look alike. There is no discrimination in any form, because they are what do you call them people? Remember when the Borg, right?
Oh yeah.
From Star Trek,
yeah.
right?
They move as
Right?
one.
They move as one.
Right.
Their problem, their only thing that divides them is not that they judge based on looks. They got beefs that just go back for thousands of years.
Right.
That's all.
Well, all of
But,
us do, and especially
right,
when we talk about the, the 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 cultural tribes of Africa. There were
right,
families and clans that their ways are different from one another. They held respect in their own jurisdictions, but like any crew or any group, they see differences, and some would try to exploit. Some would try to
right,
intermarry, and it's not a good time. And everybody
right,
want to keep their people a certain way so they can live, properly or whatever in their own eyes. They want
right,
to be able to
right.
reflect the best level,
Morality,
yeah, of
right.
their
The
reality.
core thing is morality, and
Mm,
that's the culture. The culture encompasses the morality. We don't do this. It's not an individual thing. I don't do this, but we don't do that, and that's healthy
that's right.
as a collective. But the fracturing of it is where society goes to stray. So that's why I brought up the black church. Like, if that would make it better, even if you agree or disagree with that concept of religion, and all of that, well, if it would make society better, I say right on, because they can't handle the truth. Trying to sit down for, yeah,
Yes, sir.
it's
Yes,
just the
sir.
truth. If you tell them the truth, they run amok, and it's like, nah, we just gonna act crazy and destroy, and because there's no guardrails in place. And that is the one thing that religion did, opening their eyes and saying, here's our code of ethics and morality. And that's how I look at the Bible, ethics and morality. Okay, now they're not doing that no more. Now we got to rely on good parenting or not. And
Mm.
parents don't have the time to do it because they're moving and shaking. They got to pay the bills.
It's
You know?
interesting that you mentioned the Borg and Star
Yeah.
Trek, because science fiction, if
Oh,
it
yeah.
done anything, it taught us a lot of what's
Mm-hmm.
to come. And
Mm-hmm.
the imagination of a people is very important, and and
Mm-hmm.
how they want to project themselves in
Mm-hmm.
their respective realities. Remember, when we was watching Star Trek, they had what they called the tricorder, and they would
Right.
scan the body with the tricorder. And nowadays
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
have
yeah.
the no contact thermometer.
Ain't that something?
Right. Dick Tracy,
Yeah.
one of the first comics that
Yeah.
showed.
With the phone watch. With the phone watch.
Talk
Yeah.
about it, man. Talk about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Long time ago.
Yes,
Yeah.
and this is the mythos of the people, um, kind of in the realm of metaphysics. You know, knowing there's a
Okay. Okay.
possibility of this being around, but funneling into actual science and technology, which is another bar that I have, and it needs to be addressed because they took those stories from people actually doing the work.
Right. Right.
You know, the imagination of a person sitting with a microscope looking at how cells act caused them to learn more about what they're studying, and then, boom, they start to write out the facts of that study. Then they
Right.
can start to develop things that can actually benefit the collective. That's what's missing in the metaphysic world. Um, and well, all, like I said, always due respect to the metaphysical world, and people that want to study the holistic medicine and
Right.
acupressure and stuff like that. There's a place for it,
Right.
but when we rest our laurels on that, we don't compete in other things of
Right.
development that can make up a
Right.
nation. What do you figure? What do you think about that?
No, I totally agree. Plus, if you come up with some new thing, all they're gonna do is capitalize on it, patent it, and then charge you for it. It could be free. Everything
Mm.
was free at one point.
Yeah.
So no, I think that the cutting edge of science. If you go back to Egypt, I mean, we were doing surgery thousands of years ago.
Oh yeah, talk about it. Talk about
You know,
it.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
So that was all science. You know, I mean, they were doing things, but you're right. We can't just be one dimensional and say we're gonna be, you know, just doing this one thing and it's cleaner. And
Right.
it may be cleaner, it may be more healthier. That there's nothing wrong with that. But you also don't want to be lost in the race.
In the
The race
race.
of information, right? Because it's an information race. It's a resource race. It's a it's gathering things that are going to benefit a group or a culture or a country. So
Yes.
you can't, you could say, hey, I don't want to leave a big shoe print in society, with my consumption of gasoline and plastic products, and that's all good.
Right.
That's all good. But you still need to understand how the plastic bottle is made. How do you produce gasoline? Or you'll be lost. You can stand against anything, I would think,
Cause
but you got to
food
understand.
comes before
Mhm.
you meditating.
Right.
I mean, you can
I'll go with
meditate
that.
well, but there's going to be a certain time. There's 3 days without water.
Oh
There's
yeah.
30 days without food,
Right. Right.
and shoot, you gotta breathe. You
Yeah,
gotta
breathe,
breathe.
and they'll sell that to you too. They'll sell that to you. You
That's
get sick, they're gonna
next.
be like, okay, oxygen. You know what? I can't breathe in this hospital. No, we got to charge you. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
That's right. That's right. And especially at a time like this. I don't even know if you remember. You ever heard of an oxygen bar?
an oxygen bar.
Yeah. What they would
I'm trying to
do
think.
is take like
Hmm.
from the pine trees of the ever pine trees somewhere, a mountain air. Salute to the queen, she's in the building. Make sure you can take
Hmm.
your camera off. Yeah, I got somebody else on the joint. You can take your camera off if you want to. Salute. How you doing?
Peace, peace. Hello.
You take it off. You gotta take it off. You gotta take it off if you want to. I'm gonna hold you. I'm gonna hold you back till you take it off.
I think she got it. I think she was getting right on
Yeah,
it.
deep sister, deep sister.
Really? Right
Oh yeah.
on.
Oh, she's gonna come
Right
back
on.
in. Um, they take the air from all these different places, and they kind of like the vaping thing, but they have these apparatus that held the air, so you could actually sit at the bar with the oxygen mask on and breathe in that type of air.
What?
This was out
What?
like the mid '90s, late '90s, around that time. Oxygen bars. Oh man, I wish I could push
Wow.
this up. Um, yeah, I wish I could pull this up. I can't right now. Check this phrase out right now. Knowledge is not enough to. Let me see. Hold on. Let me get this right. I don't want to mess this phrase up. Knowledge is not enough. I got to do all this. The damn computers be bugging. Computers be
Yeah,
bugging.
right.
Got me messed up. Got me messed up. Okay, here we go. Boom. Knowledge is not enough to change the conditions of black people, but to understand that we need to create programs and systems that will empower us economically, spiritually, and mentally. We need courage and action. How do you feel about that phrase right there? Well, not feel. What do you think about the phrase? Let me get that
What do I think? I think that's a great motivating statement. I
right.
think that's true. What else can you think about that? I mean, yeah, that should be things to me. These are the things that should be taught to our children when
Mm,
they're young, and then we will have the product that we want when they're 10 years old, when they before they start puberty. If we could get them here, I think education is is what we need to do for our community.
yes.
And we gather a lot of information as we get older, and we're more receptive to things as we get older because the wool is pulled over, from over our eyes. So when I hear statements like that, what I generally do is I think to myself, wow, where would I be if somebody had that conversation with me when I was 8?
Mm, mm. That goes back to what we were just talking about with the elder generation and the younger generation
Right.
of Asia and India and a few other places as well.
hmm
You know
But
that.
that's why I loved Dr. Umar, because I thought he was going to be planting these seeds early
Yeah.
within our youth, and in particular our young black men. Yes, his concept is needed. Whether or not, he gonna be the captain of the ship, but that concept is needed.
Yes. Totally. Totally. Because
Yeah.
it's not taking away anything from, his intelligence. You know,
Right.
what people have a problem with is, no team around them,
Right.
the kind
Right.
of the lack of transparency at one point,
Right.
and its operational skills may not be up to par to get things
Right.
effectively done. The
Yeah.
concept is there, the dream is there,
Right.
even a little bit of the motivation. But
Right.
this stuff can, hurt you if you're not a
Oh
strong
yeah.
revolutionary.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's
Oh
where a
yeah.
lot of these young brothers are finding out. These young brothers and sisters are finding out it's not no cakewalk.
No, it's not. It's difficult, man, and I see it every day. And you know what? It's getting harder. Now, we have very, very productive uh, younger people who are graduating with degrees and getting a start in the system, um, absorbing debt. Go to college for 4 years, you got a
Hmm.
lot of debt when you come out, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
you're acclimated. That is a stamp of approval. How much debt do you got? This is gonna keep you in line. But we need more options for them that are just as fulfilling. You
Yes.
know, I,
Yes.
I when I hear people talk about coding in particular, I didn't understand what that was. I was like, coding? Well, Okay, that's how we design these apps, and 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 all of these viruses, and everything, coding, and how you these computers that we use, like you said, we can have our basic values, but we still have to understand how these other things work in
Right.
order to compete. So when it comes down to the esoteric thing, okay, cool, live righteous, be pure, but don't sit in a box and let the world ride past you.
Right. Because then the numbers start to add up, and it may not be
Yeah,
in your
and,
favor, your group's
and
favor.
you're exactly,
Right.
you're behind. You're behind.
So is it
And
still important to seek out a revolution?
yes, yeah, man. Yeah, because we ain't free,
Interesting.
man.
Interesting.
If one of us ain't free,
We all
ain't
ain't.
none of us free. Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
yeah,
that's why it's disheartening to see um, certain people and groups drop the ball. And the young are
yeah,
not playing around anymore. They want this stuff. They want um, some good, viable information because look, like you just said about the student loan debt, it was going to
yeah,
be in May where people start paying, and they stood up and had a protest about that. Now it's pushed back to August, but
wow,
people are saying no. We we've done what we needed to do, especially as people from this country that was descendants of slaves, or I don't like to say
right,
enslaved, descendants of those enslaved. Enslaved. You
right,
got to keep that in
right,
mind, right? They weren't born
right.
slaves. And
Mm-hmm.
what they call foundational black Americans and all those groups. One thing
Right.
for sure is that we have contributed to the advancement of this
Everything.
culture, right? Through
Yeah.
science and technology, not just
Oh yeah.
word service.
Right. No, I think there are a lot of things that have been hidden. Our contributions have been stolen. I agree with that, man, on so many levels. Um, I think we need to build the institutions that can protect our scientific discoveries. Like working at a
Mm,
lab and being the best scientist is cool, but owning the lab and having our brothers and sisters as the best scientists, now we control whatever it be, whether it be medicine, whether it be
yes,
whatever
yes,
it is.
yes.
We gotta stop fighting for mediocre positions within. We got to control the whole thing. And I think when you talk about controlling the whole thing, you're talking about revolution.
Right. Or at least our portion of, and when I say our, yeah, the group that we belong to
Right,
fully express our full potentials. Because that's what
right,
makes a great people. They have the
right.
ability without restraint to fully
So let
express
me ask you a
themselves.
question.
Yes,
Let
sir.
me ask you a question. So we can always diagnose what the issue is here in America, culturally, for our people, and the lack of success, organization, and such. Let's go back to the motherland, where it is dominated
Mm,
by our brothers and sisters. Why hasn't Africa caught up and applied all of these things? And so that we would be like more motivated, like the Jews.
yes.
The Jews, they want to go back to Israel because they got their own little country now, right? Israel. Okay, well, cool. Where or what is standing out about Africa that makes us say, you know what? I want to go there. I can make it there. Where I'm going, where I see the police, they like me.
Mm,
You know, when I see a doctor, they like me. When I see the governor, the president, and they have their own issues, and I know that. But why hasn't Africa worked that out by now? And so, because it's more difficult under the system that we're under now and have been,
right.
but and I understand they've been colonized too, but I would think that they would be,
Now,
leaps and years ahead of us with coming together and being more productive.
Well, that was the first thing I was going to mention is the colonization scheme that ravaged. We're talking about 20, 10 million at a time, 20 million at a
Right,
time from some of the most vicious people. I mean, they'll cut your hand off just for looking crazy. You
right,
know,
right.
amputee camps and Leopold. You know, that's
Oh
documented
man,
stuff.
right.
On top of that, the the political corruption because of such vicious tactics. It's like either get down or lay down. Famous Philly stuff.
Yeah, it is.
you
Yeah,
know, to the point that you have these politics working in favor for those um, that don't necessarily like your group and want to suck the resources up. They become puppets, and the puppets establish more puppets and soldiers
true.
to maintain that status quo. Three is the geopolitical differences because they still have cultural ties to each other. Like an Igbo doesn't, work like a Hausa or Fulani. They still have their own internal internal discrepancies that they're just coming out of now. And we look at it at a modern eye to say, oh, you people, y'all should have been got that together because all y'all getting stomped on, and not
Right.
seeing the intricate nuances of chaos that they have. You know, there's a burgeoning success group in Nigeria, some of the richest people in the world, the youth,
Right on.
but the way they express themselves in wealth is in a European fashion.
Right.
And that doesn't produce cultural pride, so it gets left behind, and that's part of the liberation thing that we're talking about right now, getting away from you know the metaphysics and the esoteric studies. Is also kind of getting away from tradition as well. They don't they stop cultivating what made them great. Some of the best metallurgists and iron workers were from the continent. You can see
Right.
from their craftsmanship of the knock.
Right.
But them same knock people have to go somewhere else to get their products.
Wow. Yeah. I personally believe in revolution. I'm trying to, and as you talk, I sit and I think, would it be better to start a revolution? That's a question to you. Would it be better to start the revolution here or go home and start the revolution? Or like, where would you feel more comfortable and where would you get the best result? Would it be
Well,
there
I
or
wish
here?
I could show you my screen. This thing is wilding out, and I don't even know. I'm everything is being recorded, so that's good. And
Right on,
I'm
right
still
on.
streaming. The
But
sister told me
but
this.
you on Instagram too?
Oh no. I